Your fucking mother. Oh my god. Still, not even really close. Yeah, I'm gonna need that first act. Wouldn't have got it anyway. I might have. Fuck! Cool, another fucking stupid ass choke that didn't need to happen. How many fucking frames, man? How many fucking frames? Was so late on that back end. I don't even have the fucking heart to look at how close, but I have to. That was it. And I just fucking threw it again. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. That is... I don't need to say anything. It obviously fucking sucks. Feels like unbelievable gut punch. What a bitch. What an unfucking believable bitch. Yes! Fuck yes! Oh my god! Fucking got it without doing the nearly ideal first act. That is crazy. Holy fuck. God, the margin for error in that is just so incredibly small. I was fighting for my fucking life for 8 points. But we got it. We fucking got it. God damn, this is one of the hardest things. Man. Holy fuck, dude. 293k. Let's fucking go. Oh, this is amazing. So I clearly had my doubts to whether or not this was gonna happen without the nearly ideal first. As to why I'm not doing that, I mean, it should be self-explanatory, but in case it isn't, the second act in particular is fucking hard. And gatekeeping that behind another really annoying act is just absolutely brutal. The third act is also really hard. Not on the same level that the second is, particularly because the second has 2 whammies. And I think even still the timing is more strict, and I think the back end is more annoying. But that is to say, just getting those 2 acts in the same run is incredibly hard. Getting those 2 acts with amazing ticks is, yeah, this was a fucking brutal test of patience and willpower. Because, you know, obviously, the 998 run I had first by, like, what, 550? I didn't need to do this for any other reason except to get this milestone, but these thousands are so tantalizing. And really, man, this song is just kind of evil in how it sets this up. You have this really annoying first act that gives you a handful of ticks, but those handful of ticks are 90 out of 100 times what you'll need on a run with the other squeezes to break that 1,000 milestone. And with foregoing it, you're basically saying, I am not going to drop ticks anywhere, and I'm going to have an amazing last act. But guess what? That still ended up being my preferred way to go about this, because being stuck behind that first act when the second is so fucking hard is just like, it's worse. It's even worse. I also kind of prefer this path because on the nearly ideal path, after you get done with that third act, I mean, even after you get done with the second act, nerves are a lot higher, but after you get done with the third act, nerves are through the roof, and it is so fucking hard to keep it together for that last act. And as you saw in so many of these choke clips, it is so not guaranteed to break over that threshold, even with the plus 40 or more that you get off that nearly ideal act. And speaking of that act, you know, the first act, obviously, I don't know what crack the bigger squeeze path is smoking to get the ticks that it does while being under its parameters of 60%, because basically that means that you should optimize the whammy 60% and the front end 60% on this act, because the back end doesn't matter. But there is just absolutely no way, man. I was still missing that first whammy by hitting it early, like, fairly frequently. And even with using a decent extended hit window front end, I was lucky to get the bigger squeeze ticks. So I don't know what's going on there, but that kind of tricked me into, like, being more gung-ho about following this path than I probably otherwise would have been. But yeah, it's just all about that mental battle, dealing with that first nearly ideal act. And sometimes I would hit it multiple times in a row, and I would just think to myself, like, this isn't even that bad, like, why am I trying to avoid this so much? And then I would just randomly, pretty much, it seemed like, hit a wall where I just couldn't hit it, and that was really what just crumbled me mentally with this. A big reason as well I was willing to experiment more with this bigger squeeze path is because I finally, after multiple hours of attempts, went into practice and really got down the breakdown, which is that incredibly shitty part about halfway through where you have those really awkward hopo timings, especially that quick blue into the orange sustain, and then it leads into that super fast pull-off string. And if you heard my strumming, I was actually doing a double strum on that to abuse extended hit window on the yellow hopo. And thankfully that made it to where I could basically strum on the orange, you know, to use extended hit window for the blue to just try to hold on to ticks, and then use it on the yellow also, and it really seemed to help. So thank God for that, because there's no way I would have been able to get this with dropping ticks on the breakdown, obviously. But yeah, the other thing about this path mentally is just that, yes, it's a lot easier to get past the third act when you don't have to worry nearly as much about the first, obviously. But the other thing is that it turns the song post-third act from this huge, like, nerves and I gotta hold it together while still trying to get enough whammy and holding on ticks enough to get this. It turns that whole, like, real awkward fest into ambition. Like, I really gotta push this last act, I'm gonna push these early whammies, and I'm honestly super lucky that this run made it past that incredibly shitty orange star power sustain that basically leads into that green triplet afterward. That is such a fucked up chart decision, because you just get screwed by the strum limit on that all the time. And even if I was, like, trying to push different methods, like trying to use extended hit window starting on the orange, trying to do that while whamming would just be a super fucked up situation. There's just really not a great way to go about that. And like I said, I think during the run, this probably should have died right there on that first green triplet. And you know, it's easy to write off all of those mini whammies after the third act, before the big kahuna green one that you activate on. But those all matter, man. Again, especially on this path. And so pushing all of those just was the difference maker for sure. I guarantee if I go back and watch this, it's going to be like within a frame or two on that back end. And speaking of, oh my god, the pressure on that back end. Oh my god, that is so brutal. And I had to learn that the hard way from that run where I strummed too early on the last green and it ate my strum input on the hopo and I choked there. That run, in retrospect, probably wasn't getting it regardless, but even still it taught me like a valuable lesson about that. And then also I had that like 22 run or whatever that died from me just completely flubbing the back end execution, because yeah, your nerves are going crazy. This is all the GH2 songs I have done, 80 out of 80. I checked my storage on here just to make sure there wasn't any like account discrepancies that I just couldn't see because I was logged into this account. Because for some reason I have the memory of at least having the Frankenstein GH1 pack, but for whatever reason I don't have that. It could have been on a previous Xbox and I just didn't license transfer or re-download it, whatever. But yeah, this is all I got, and this is the final song that I didn't have a record on, though it hopefully won't be the last new song that I post. But that remains to be seen, whether I can get that oh so inconspicuous unnamed song to work with me. But anyway, even if not, going out on a real high note here, I don't think too many people are going to care about this because it's a DLC song, but this is a really incredible optimized score, even for my standards, I think. Maybe someday I'll get I'll get an RGH and get the other 18 or so songs. The only pack that I really kind of have regrets about not getting is the My Chemical Romance pack. But that being said, I wasn't really that big of a fan of that band until later on, probably after the stuff was even pulled from the marketplace. So that's just in retrospect. I don't know. I'm sure at some point in time I'll get an RGH for the remaining DLC here, and probably just to finish up GH3 DLC. So that's just to say there's certainly no ETA on that. But I'm good with this anyway.